And we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. Rusty back with you here on Central Florida Weather Live, the show for this Friday, February the 21st. I hope you guys are doing well. Coming up in this live show, we're going to be talking about our weekend forecast across Central Florida after a very chilly start to the day. We'll take a look at the opportunity for some rain that might try and sneak in right towards the end of the weekend and to kick off the next work week, and just kind of talk about a pretty active pattern overall and how that's going to influence our temperatures. Hope you guys are doing well. As always, Central Florida Weather Live is sponsored by the leading law firm of Central Florida. They're your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They cover homeowners, condo owners, and associations across the entire state. Doesn't matter where you are in Florida, they've got you covered. Anything that can impact you or your property. So think about hail damage or hurricane damage or a burst pipe or potentially a car accident. They're going to walk you through every step of the insurance claim process, offering free consultation and policy reviews. Just go to the website you see at the bottom of your screen, leanonmelaw.com, if you would like more information. First of all, you guys like the new intro to CFLW, the show? I know that earlier we were playing that kind of ominous live stream music for when we have our impactful weather. So we changed that up, made it a little bit more light and easy going for you. So let me know if you guys enjoyed that. Got a couple of comments here. Let me get this off the screen real quick. Garrett in the house from a very chilly North Carolina. Garrett, how'd you guys do with the snow? Was it just snow or did you guys have some ice? Mentioned it here on the Weather Express channel. Pretty good storm went through North Carolina, and actually a coastal low developed, and they actually had some snow right along the coastline and portions of the Carolinas and Virginia. And then actually yesterday it was the big time black ice that was the issue there. Blue Goose, how you doing? Rusty of the gang in the house, checking in from St. Augustine, 50.8 degrees. That's exactly what we've got, Blue Goose. Good to see a chilly, sunny day across the area. This is the visible satellite imagery here looping up over the past couple of hours. And I just wanted to show you that. Again, it's very clear to see this time of the year, right? When you have all this cloud coverage that's still offshore, it's because the ground, right, the land warms up much faster than the water, relatively speaking. So the sun using its energy to warm up the ground, that helps to burn off the low level moisture quicker across inland areas, and you get clearer skies. But in this scenario, you still have a lot of low level moisture that's sticking across all of the water, and you can clearly see from the Gulf through the Straits back into the Western Atlantic, it is a cloudy afternoon still. Now, the interesting thing is that some of this could try and tug towards our coastline. If you live in places like Daytona Beach, you can see that there's a little bit of that cloud coverage almost building in right now. Generally speaking, I expect skies to remain fairly clear along our East Coast, but if we're going to get a little bit of cloud coverage to sneak back into our forecast on this Friday afternoon, it's going to be there. And it's kind of an interesting scenario too, because those easterlies that are along the coastline might actually spell a couple of showers along the East Coast over the weekend, where other areas of Central Florida are going to stay dry. So we'll talk about that as well. Let's get into the temperatures across the area right now. Bring that on for you guys. So these numbers will pop on here in just a second, if they want to cooperate. Let's see, there we go. These are looping up over the last 6 hours. Let me bring this back down over to the last 3. And while I'm at it, let me bring back on our actual timestamp. Okay, perfect. So temperatures across the board right now. Yeah, over the last 3 hours. I mean, take a look at this. Blue Goose says he has 50.8. Last report out of St. Augustine, still just a chilly, you know, at, let's see, 1256, still just 48 degrees at the METAR station there on the north side of St. Augustine. So you can see 1256 pops up, 48 degrees, a dew point of 36. And the other big story is the wind along the coastline. Again, pretty fresh wind right now. Look, it's a chilly afternoon. The sun is going to help. The sun is going to help, but we're going to be way below average for daytime highs. And again, this morning, we had temperatures right around the freezing mark in our northern areas. Places like Ocala and Williston and Gainesville and Archer and Keystone Heights all dipped below freezing briefly this morning. And the wind was a story as well. Now, of course, we didn't get anywhere near freezing in Metro Orlando, or even through most of the Nature Coast and the East Coast to the north of Palm Coast, got close. But the bigger story was really the wind and the breeze, and just the fact that it was a very, very chilly morning. And, you know, it's going to be that way in the afternoon, despite the sunshine as well. Blue Goose says radiant heat from the ground will revert the cloud layer. Yeah, oh, absolutely. This time of the year, especially because of the low sun angle, right? The low sun angle is a story in this as well, but this is the big difference between land and water. And it's one reason why, right, hurricane season lasts into November, even as we're cooling off. The latent heat and the water holds the temperature a lot longer, right? It takes longer to heat up large bodies of water. It takes longer to cool down large bodies of water, which is why really hurricane season doesn't get active for the most part until September and October, because the heat just continues to build in that time frame. But with this time of the year, you can really see the big difference between the coastline and inland locations. And again, a little bit of cloud coverage coming in with that. It's a pretty, decent wind as well. Let's take a look at those wind gusts at the hour. And again, you guys have a specific question about the forecast, let me know in the comments section below. We're going to be talking about your weekend, going to get you prepared for what's going to be an opportunity for a little bit of shower activity in the area. Now, again, these are the winds across Central Florida at the lunchtime hour. Look at Melbourne, Palm Bay, in the Atlantic right now. Nice little 36-mile-an-hour gust. Yes, it's not going to be consistent right in that range. But if we take a look at this from the METAR site there, this was as of the 1 o'clock hour, where they've got a north wind at 25 miles an hour and a gust up to 36. The dew point is 48, so the air is basically bone dry. Beautiful, no humidity afternoon for us here. And by the way, you do see your live conditions across Central Florida rolling at the bottom of your screen. That's a nice little feature we have here on Central Florida Weather Live. A lot of different cities across Central Florida will continue to scroll and update as we go through. You see the temperature, you see the icon, it gives you a little bit of a wording there as what's going on. So Crystal River right now sitting at just 57 degrees. So again, breezy afternoon. I would expect there to be a little bit more wind overall along the East Coast in general, right? And so as we zoom in a little bit into Volusia County, you get Ormond Beach, 25-mile-an-hour wind gusts, Daytona 30, down towards the Edgewater area, right, towards Wilbur by the Sea, south of Port Orange, 36-mile-an-hour wind. DeLand had a 31-mile-an-hour wind gust, and they're pretty far inland there in Volusia County, just slightly west of the I-4 corridor. Sanford's Airport had a 25-mile-an-hour wind gust, downtown Orlando, 23, MCO around 26 to 27. There will still be some 20-plus-mile-an-hour wind gusts along the west coast as well, but just not as prominent there. Southern sides of Hernando County, right around a 30-mile-an-hour wind. Tampa, about 20. But again, pretty fresh breeze across most of the area for the remainder of the day. But outside of a potential sprinkle trying to kind of sneak on shore, I don't expect there to be any showers whatsoever. This is actually the composite radar here. And you notice that, again, if I just let this loop up, you might see these little dots right here. And there's just enough moisture content with some of the showers along the immediate East Coast, or some of the clouds, that we could get a literal sprinkle. But I think the best chance is going to be south of Indian River County today. So basically in the forecast, I have us being dry. So I do expect that. Blue Goose says it's very breezy in Brevard. Appreciate that, Blue Goose. And again, you have a specific question about the forecast, let me know in the comments section below. While you're down there, thank you for liking this live stream. And I really do appreciate you guys tuning in to the live version of this here on this Friday afternoon. Garrett said the foothills only got a dusting. It's interesting. It was really area dependent, right? Especially with that low wrapping up along the coast, where some eastern areas actually had more snow than even portions of the higher western terrain of North Carolina. Appreciate that, Garrett. So we're gonna get into the forecast here for you guys. As I take a little sip of water. The good thing about this, and we're looking at a couple of cameras here as well. The good thing about the forecast for tonight is, although it's going to get chilly again, I'm not expecting there to be any freeze issues. Now, the Weather Service could still issue what's called a cold weather advisory. You won't see that on my map, but the cold weather advisory is basically just saying, oh, hey, by the way, by Florida standards, it's going to be cold for tonight. But no frost, no freeze for the most part. Let's take a look at a couple of the cameras that we got here at Central Florida Weather Live. I'm going to get myself off camera. We'll start off with our camera from the Walt Disney World area. This is Lake Buena Vista. This camera is just 1 mile from the Magic Kingdom. We are actually looking back south and west towards the Disney property. Again, just a few clouds in the area, fair skies, pretty light winds there. I mean, we talked about the wind gusts. You see a little bit there in the park across the street. Palm trees just have a little bit of rustling to them, but not an extremely strong wind there at the hour. Beautiful afternoon, though. If you can stand a little bit of a chill on your back, you grab the windbreaker or the light jacket, you're going to be just fine. A little bit of extra cloud coverage compared to what, honestly, I would expect right now in Conway. This is going to be in downtown Orlando. Sorry about that. Keep hitting the wrong button. In the Lake Conway area near downtown Orlando. So a little bit of cloud coverage, but you notice there's no vertical development in that beautiful hue of that winter sky, right? It's a little bit of a different blue compared to what we see in the summer months. And that's just a gorgeous shot there. Now they have a bit more wind, and you would expect that along some of the larger lakes here in Central Florida where the breeze has been picking up. And again, 20, 25, and even 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts are absolutely not out of the question. Some call that a northeast fetch. Well, it is, you know, a bit. I mean, it's the marine layer. It's the sea fog coming back in. Now, again, that would be at the surface. Otherwise, it's just basically when you've got an onshore wind, it's going to try and pull some of that moisture back along the coastline, Blue Goose. It is dependent. Remember, the air is relatively dry today. If this was a situation where we had the moisture from a couple of weeks ago, we could really see some overcast skies and some rain along the coast. But today, with the air being much drier at the lower levels of the atmosphere, I'm not expecting that to be the case. Probably just the way of a couple of sprinkles at best. All right, let me switch back over to our weather computer here. We're going to get into the forecast a little bit for you guys as well. So let's see here. I'm going to go to a little bit wider view. And the first thing I just want to point out is that we're still enveloped with really cold temperatures. It's not 40 below in northeast Minnesota, but we're still enveloped with very cold conditions in the central and the eastern sides of the United States. Now, it's actually getting warmer as we speak. Can you believe that we had wind chill values in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that were more than 10 degrees below zero earlier this week? We had all of these extreme cold warnings. We are going to see another area of low pressure develop into the northwest side of the Gulf of Mexico, and this will spell our next chance for more widespread rain. We're going to talk about the few showers along the East Coast tomorrow coming up, but you can already see the rain beginning to develop here in the southern sides of Texas. And again, just like the last storm system that came through, because this low is trying to develop in the northwest Gulf, relatively speaking, there's going to be some high moisture content. And so even though it's going to be a fast moving system, we are going to get the opportunity to have some decent rainfall coming in late Sunday and into early on Monday. Once again, it's a quick shot of rain. And at this point in time, the timing looks to be okay for even outdoor plans on Sunday, but we'll highlight that. Please notice as well, by the way, guys, the colder air on the northern side of this, right? Houston right now sits at just what, about 37 degrees, right? And I'm putting on these vectors so you guys get an idea. And again, my weather system can do a lot of different things on the fly in real time. I'm going to try and leverage, right, the technology that we have here at Central Florida Weather Live to give you guys an experience you're not going to see in any other places, especially on the digital platform. And again, because this is, you know, a live show and an interactive show, feel free to ask me comments. If you have a question about what I'm showing, let me know in the comments section below. But you can clearly see this north wind is driving some very cold temperatures all the way down into portions of coastal Texas and southern Louisiana. Weather Express, Blue Goose, is not live. I do one video a day on Weather Express, so you can watch it whenever you want, okay? I typically post them in the late afternoon. If you have notifications on, like I suggest that you have for CFLW, remember, this is a live-only channel, right? So I'm only on with live content. Now, you can watch it in a recorded version, and I appreciate those who do, and a fair amount of you guys do that. But Weather Express is just a recorded 5-minute video. So you can watch it at your convenience. If you have the notifications on, though, when I post a new video, you will get that notification and you can watch it immediately. Okay? You got it. Thanks, Garrett. I appreciate it. Yeah, look, this is the niche, guys. You know, we're covering this live. We can have this interaction. And of course, these shows are set up to just give you guys more continuous coverage of Central Florida's weather. But when there's any impactful weather, I'm going to be on live morning, noon, and night, just like I did last year, covering it for you. But this is going to give you guys hopefully a better idea of things. And part of the reason why I wanted to do this is a couple things, and we'll talk about this as we go through the forecast and everything like this, is that, you know, during these shows, if I know there is going to be severe weather on Sunday, I can give you guys that heads up rather than you guys just seeing a notification on your phone Sunday afternoon. Oh crap, Rusty's live, something must be going on. If you're a follower of these live shows, you're going to get a much more of a heads up, right? That, oh, okay, Rusty is, keeping an eye out for severe storms on Sunday. I need to be paying attention on Sunday. And then if you see that I'm live, you know the reason why. That's part of it as well. Some folks have talked about the time of the shows being at 1 o'clock. I'm not married to that. There's no doubt about that. But part of the reason why I'm doing it at 1 o'clock is it's good for my schedule, but it's also good for how we're going to be covering live events. Because remember, as we get into the wet season again here in Central Florida, we're going to start to see sea breeze storms develop in the afternoon. I would love to, maybe do this more at 3 o'clock. We might get a little bit more live viewership, but we also might start running into doing live coverage then. I know that even in the summer months, 1 p.m. is still relatively quiet. You know what I mean? So we can get this live show done before I'm back on, really watching storms and just focusing in on that. I want to try and separate them, but I've considered changing the times of this, maybe even doing this Friday show on Thursday evening instead. So again, I'm not married to it. If you guys want to let me know in the comments section below when might be a better time for you, we'll see. But again, you can always watch the recorded version of this. And if you are, you're more than welcome to ask questions in the comments section below as well. All right, so visible satellite imagery, water vapor imagery, you can see the moisture beginning to develop here. Really fast moving system. And again, this time of the year, you just don't have the precipitable water as what we would see here a little bit more into the summer months. But again, the opportunity to see a couple of storms. Now, Storm Prediction Center for today, no risk of severe storms across the entire area. Tomorrow, you see a general risk of a couple of thunderstorms east Texas and Louisiana. It shows you that that low is still developing, right? And that it's not going to make much of a progress into our area tomorrow. So outside of a couple of light sprinkles along the East Coast, I'm expecting tomorrow's weather to be absolutely gorgeous. It's still going to be a chilly start to the morning. We'll have those 3-day forecasts coming up. But if you have outdoor plans for Saturday, we're looking just fine. And this is Sunday. And you notice that we still keep the general risk of storms to South Louisiana even on Sunday. So this system is not going to have a lot of instability as it moves through. Just like last time, we're going to get some rain, maybe a rumble of thunder, but I think this time the instability is even more limited, where the opportunity to even get a few rumbles of thunder is very low. This will probably be just some showers. And again, the timing of it looks to be that it should be moving in after the daylight hours of Sunday. So for weekend plans, we're looking pretty darn good. Okay, let's start into our models. I'm going to bring up the HER model first. Take just 1 second because I was working with the GFS model behind the scenes. It's interesting. I can set up all these different models behind the scenes ahead of time, loop them up, get them ready to go. But if I switch models on the fly, I actually have to re-input the model I'm using. So it takes just a half second to be able to do that. You can set it up, but then if you do switch models, you get the idea. All right, so let's break down how this is going to play out on the HER model. And we'll talk about temperatures, of course, coming up as well. So the remainder of today, right, we get into the afternoon hours. As I mentioned, if there's going to be a sprinkle, it's going to probably be southern Indian River County and down towards Fort Pierce, Port St. Lucie because of that northeast wind. The air, as we've mentioned, with dew points in the 40s, is still relatively dry along our east coast. I'm not going to rule out a sprinkle for Brevard County, but man, that's all I would expect out of this. We then kind of shut this off, and it is going to be quiet overnight. Now, the HER model tries to bring in potentially literally a brief shot of a shower tomorrow morning in our northern areas. Again, this could just simply be a little bit of cloud coverage. The moisture content is so low and the air is so dry that I think that the HER model is overdoing this a little bit. But from Crystal River, Inverness, the Villages, Palm Coast, Daytona Beach, Edgewater areas, could there be a very brief sprinkle tomorrow morning with some of the cloud coverage that you see? Yes. Anything more than that, though, I don't expect that to be the case. Now, tomorrow afternoon, and I'll show you this on the winds as well, we will pick up more of an onshore flow here along portions of the coast. Oh boy, all right. Work with me here. That was weird. It didn't want to zoom in. And so you'll start to see the HER model sprinkle on just a little bit of rain. Nothing, again, is concentrated at all, right? But you know, and I'm not sure if you go west of I-4, if this would even turn into a few showers. But if I live, right, from Duval County down towards Flagler Beach and Beverly Beach, Palm Coast, Daytona Beach, Ormond by the Sea, Oak Hill, the Cape, Merritt Island, our barrier islands here of Brevard County, Indian Atlantic, places like that, I would expect the opportunity to see a few showers in these areas. Not a lot, right? But I don't have it completely dry for tomorrow. So keep that in mind. And then maybe we dry out a bit more on Sunday. Actually, with the winds churning more out of the south on Sunday, the rain chance is lower on Sunday. But again, just a couple of sprinkles out there. You got it, Blue Goose. My pleasure. So that's what I expect over the weekend as far as rain goes, right? Not a lot in the way of a lot of rain. We'll look at the GFS coming up as well. But when we look at temperatures, and I'll let this loop up real quick as I grab a drink of water. Just want to kind of highlight what I expect for morning lows tomorrow. First of all, I don't expect there to be a freeze. I don't really expect there to even be frost. Now, could there be frost in our northern areas and a couple sheltered locations? Yes. But the winds tomorrow morning will probably be around 5 to 8 miles an hour. So the air is not going to be completely settled. Okay. And again, we were touching 31, 32 degrees up in Marion County yesterday morning. This is the HER model. I want to make sure I get it to the coldest point here. We've got Ocala tomorrow morning at around 43. I think I've got Ocala a little bit cooler than this, right around 40, but it definitely shows you that there's a moderating trend in the temperatures. Crystal River 42, Inverness 43, the Villages 44, you know, downtown Orlando, mid and upper 40s, most of Orange County. Our friends in Seminole County, places like Sanford in at 50-ish, Winter Springs, Lake Mary, the Oviedo area, I would expect about that as well. Along the coastline, again, it might be very area dependent. You get right towards the Barrier Islands, that easterly breeze could actually keep you in the upper 50s, but you get closer to I-4 and you can see this huge temperature gradient, right? So Daytona Beach tomorrow morning could be well into the 50s, but you get just off of the coastline and you might even dip down into the upper 40s right along I-95 there, like the LPGA Boulevard area near Daytona Beach. And that'll be the same situation along our entire East Coast because there's just a touch of an easterly breeze, right? Colder spots will be north and west, but even no freezing expected in places like Gainesville, Crystal River, Homosassa, again, upper 30s, but probably the lower 40s there. And you'll follow some cooler air right down portions of Hernando and Pasco counties towards Holiday, Lando Lakes around 45. Should be relatively nice in St. Pete Beach. But look, even Tampa tomorrow morning will probably start off in the upper 40s. So you can see there's just a little nudge of cooler air coming down the west coast compared to that easterly breeze, keeping things warmer along our east coast. I mean, I'm not sure Titusville stays at 60 degrees, but you get the idea that wherever the influence of the onshore breeze is going to be along the coastline, it will have a significant difference in what we're going to see for our temperatures. If we take a look at the winds, I'm going to take off this and then bring on the 10-meter winds, and then loop this up. So this is the same model. This is the HER model. I just wanted to show you again that we're going to get a bit of a turn to the winds out of the east as we head overnight and into Saturday, and that will allow, again, a few sprinkles to develop along our east coast. Eventually, though, as this area of low pressure develops in the northwest side of the Gulf of Mexico, our winds will turn a little bit more out of the south into the east. That will help to warm things up just a little bit, and then we will be in store to see a little bit in the way of some cooler air. Now, that turn to the east-southeast is not going to last long. I want to be clear about that. We're going to mainly feel it on Sunday afternoon, right? Here's Sunday afternoon, and you can clearly see right now there's a bit of an easterly to southeast wind. However, already in our western areas, we're starting to see the winds turn back out of the north. So Sunday's forecast is going to be very area dependent with some cooler temperatures along the west coast, a little bit warmer along the east, but by early on Sunday morning, you can start to see that the winds do turn directly out of the north here. And it's going to be a little bit drier of an air mass, right? Before the next storm system comes in. So if I zoom out, this is going to be Sunday morning. And you can see that the low is beginning to wrap up here. And then that's going to be driven along the coast. The winds out ahead of it, eventually Sunday night and into early Monday, will turn back out of the south. and that's when we'll start to see a little bit milder air. So before I show you the GFS model, I'll show you the 3-day forecast. To note as well, as you would expect, these are the advisories that are currently in effect right now. Kind of as you guys would imagine, we do have small craft advisories, so keep this in mind. Now, these small craft advisories in the short term will end later today for the nearshore waters. They end at 4 o'clock. For the offshore waters, that's 20 to 60 nautical miles out. They won't end until the evening. Don't be shocked if they reissue these for parts of the weekend, right? If we just take a look at this is from the NWS out of Jacksonville. They're talking about north winds 20 to 30 knots, seas of around 5 to 7 feet. And again, this is out to 20 nautical miles. This goes all the way down into Palm Coast for Flagler Beach. If we pick this up from the NWS out of Melbourne, so that's going to be our southern areas from the Volusia Brevard County line down to Sebastian Inlet. And again, coastal waters out to 20 nautical miles, north winds at 20 to 25, seas 5 to 6 feet. That's not fun for small craft, and we're still going to have stronger offshore winds tomorrow. So especially for the offshore waters, I'm not going to be shocked if we have additional small craft advisories for at least Saturday. You have your rip current statements as well. Obviously, this is not the time of the year that a lot of folks are going to be actually getting out in the water, but if for some reason that is part of your plans, the rip current risk is high, expect rough surf conditions. We do have a frost advisory up here. Again, outside of our main area of interest, but just keep that in mind. Again, these are the areas up towards the I-10 corridor, Jacksonville, the southeast sides of Georgia, where they could even get a freeze towards the Waycross area, maybe the northern sides of Jacksonville as well. But again, no frost or freeze, watches, warnings, advisories, anything like that. Potentially a cold weather advisory. But again, that's basically just the Weather Service saying, oh, hey, by the way, by Florida standards, it's going to be cold. You're going to want to make sure that you bundle up. Okay, let's get into the forecast, guys. Here we go. So we'll start off in Orlando for the weekend. Chilly start to the day, mostly sunny in the afternoon. Look, again, Orlando gets down to 49 tomorrow morning. Keep that in mind. So a lot of, Orlando area, Apopka, right? On over towards Fairview Shores and Baldwin Park and the Conway area and Lake Nona, Medical City, on over towards Winter Garden in Ocoee. Upper 40s to kick off tomorrow morning. The daytime high right around 70. Should be absolutely gorgeous. Again, if you just don't like a little bit of a chill, I would recommend having at least an extra layer. You can probably get rid of it by the lunchtime hour. We'll start off at 53 on Sunday. A really pleasant day. Again, I'm not expecting any rain during the daylight hours. So for Orlando, we're dry. So for the attractions, we're dry. For the daylight hours of the weekend, 72 the daytime high. If we're going to get some rain, it's going to try and develop late Sunday, overnight, and into early on Monday, where when you wake up on Monday morning, and we'll look at this on the GFS model in just a second, there will probably be some decent thick cloud coverage and some light scattered showers, right? This rain should begin to break apart just after the daybreak hours. So we'll see more sunshine and clearing on Monday afternoon, but it will be a little bit cooler. Again, as that low passes by, winds will turn back out of the north, and we'll see a daytime high of around 69. All 3 of the next 3 days, we'll see temperatures slightly below average. We should be in the mid 70s here for daytime highs in Orlando as we push towards the end of February. So nothing outrageous, but slightly cooler. For Tampa, again, we talked about the cooler air along the west coast tomorrow morning. Even the Tampa area, Brandon and Seffner, and, other areas like Town and Country start off in the upper 40s again, especially in inland locations. You get outside of any water areas, it's going to be cooler. Beautiful day, though. 72 the daytime high. Again, partly to mostly sunny skies. We're mostly sunny on Sunday, 54, so we're 5 degrees warmer. And the daytime high on Sunday of 73. And again, rain will begin to move in just after dark on Sunday, and then we'll have some scattered light rain around for the Monday morning drive in Tampa. 57 the morning low, and the daytime high of 71. 30% chance for showers there. Also have a 30% chance for showers on Monday morning in the St. Petersburg area. Again, milder temperatures in the morning because of the adjacency of the water. So 51 to kick it off in St. Pete and St. Pete Beach area for tomorrow. 72 the daytime high. Beautiful, beautiful afternoon on Sunday. Again, pristine weather. Get outside and enjoy it, guys. Should be great. The showers move in overnight into Monday morning. Again, the 30% chance for showers then, and the daytime high right around 70. Ocala. Now, we start talking about the colder air when you get up into Marion County, Levy County, northern Citrus, northern sides of Lake counties. Those are our cold spots for tomorrow morning, but not as cold as this morning for sure. Again, Ocala right around freezing this morning, 40 the morning low. Could there be a couple of areas of sheltered frost? Yes. Is it going to be widespread? I don't believe so. So a cold start, a cool afternoon, nothing horrible though. 70 the daytime high tomorrow. That's not bad. Maybe shouldn't have said cool and call it pleasant. Still chilly though Sunday morning. They usually get back down to 45 degrees. So for our friends in the Villages area, you got some morning golf going on the next couple of days. Again, just bundle up in a layer. Will be great in the afternoon. 71 the daytime high. Rain again moves in late Sunday, overnight into Monday morning. So a few showers to kick off the work and the school week. 51 the morning low. And again, 70 the daytime high. So pretty uniform temperatures for afternoon highs. And it gets slightly milder with the morning hours here through early next week. Now again, the East Coast is a little bit of a change up from everyone else to the forecast. Tomorrow, because of the onshore breeze, I can't rule out the way of an isolated shower. A little bit more cloud coverage along the East Coast as well. And I'm talking about the immediate coastline. You even hit I-95 and you might see a break in those clouds just that quickly as you move inland. It'll be a bit of a cool breeze though, because that's going to be a northeast wind. So now you're looking at the East Coast being the areas with the coolest weather over the weekend. Daytona Beach, Holly Hill, Ormond Beach, just 66 for the daytime high tomorrow after a morning low of 51, a 20% chance for an isolated light shower. Again, with the winds turning a little bit more southerly Sunday, or excuse me, well, it's going to be a brief change. We'll have a bit of a north wind early Sunday and then actually turning a little bit more southeast late Sunday as that low develops. But regardless, we're not tapping into that direct east wind. And so I don't expect there to be that onshore flow to produce the showers Sunday afternoon. So I've got you dry, partly sunny, 67 the daytime high there. And then on Monday, again, a few showers early in the morning and just a cool day as the winds turn back out of the north. Now we do catch that fetch of cooler air coming off of the immediate coastline. So you're stuck at just 65 for the daytime high. Do look for a little bit of clearing though late in the day. And then for our friends in Brevard County and Titusville, it'll be warmer the farther south that you go along the coastline, but still, relatively speaking to other areas inland, it will be cooler. Again, a few light showers are possible in Titusville for tomorrow with a mix of sun and clouds. We'll call it partly sunny. 68 will be the daytime high. Mainly dry on Sunday, a mix of sun and clouds. Nice day up to 70. And again, a few showers. Now, the farther southeast that you go, some of this rain could linger just a little bit deeper into the morning hours. But at this point in time, I do expect it to be dry by the time we get into the afternoon. Call it a 30% chance for showers there for places like Titusville and the Palm Bay areas. 68 there again for the high. So that's what it looks like over the next 3 days with your city by city forecasts. Let's get into the GFS model here. So I'm going to bring that up. And again, because I'm switching models, got to do just a little bit in the way of a switch here. You can see the northeast winds there. I'm going to get rid of that vector. Let's bring on the reflectivity. That's fine. And I'm going to take this out to Tuesday evening. All right, so this is the GFS model. Again, the HER model is a fantastic high resolution model, but it only goes out 48 hours, right? So the GFS is the American global model. This thing goes out an eternity, 2.5 weeks and beyond, depending on the parameter. So again, you know, you get beyond 7 days, a lot of times you're just looking at trends more than anything, but this will give us a clearer picture of kind of the overall situation here. So here's our load developing as we get into Sunday afternoon. And again, you can see that even as we head towards 11 o'clock Sunday night, the GFS basically has the first gasp of rain trying to move into our northwest area. So I'm not expecting this rain to hit our area during the day on Sunday. And the best chance for these showers to move through will be in the wee hours of Monday morning. This is 5:30, and you can clearly see on Monday morning we have widespread light rain coming in with this, right? Not expecting it to be too heavy. There could be a brief moderate downpour, but I'm also not expecting there to be any lightning or thunder with this. It could be an isolated rumble, but I'm not really robust on that chance. This is 8 a.m. Now again, maybe the GFS is overdoing just a little bit just because the moisture content is not high, but certainly some extra cloud coverage. And then as we go through the morning hours and this system moves off very quickly to the east, we'll begin to break apart this rain. If there's any leftover shower around the lunchtime hour or beyond, this is 2 o'clock on the GFS model for Monday afternoon, it is going to be in our far southeast areas, potentially the far eastern sides of Orange and Osceola of counties, but mainly Brevard and Indian River counties, and really from Titusville south, right? So Titusville, Port St. John, Cocoa, Merritt Island, Satellite Beach, Grant Valcaria, Palm Bay, Mico, Barefoot Bay, Sebastian, Fellsmere, Indian River shores. Those are the areas that, if nothing else, could hold on to some extra cloud coverage on Monday afternoon and maybe a few more showers. Again, if you're watching this, thank you so much for liking this live stream. It really helps out the channel more than you guys think. It gives us more interaction. More folks who don't even know we exist will be watching this. Thank you for subscribing to Central Florida Weather Live. If you have a specific question about the forecast, feel free to drop it down in the comment section below. So after we get past the initial rain, right, and you'll start to see those showers come through, they're going to get hung up a bit just to our south and to our east. And it's actually going to end up being a relatively wet pattern for the southeast sides of the state and into the Bahamas. So the Bahamas are going to be wet. So if you guys watch my Media Mundo content where we cover the Caribbean and the Bahamas, I'm going to be talking about a lot more wet weather for those folks as well. And by the way, if you would like to subscribe to my other channels, Media Mundo and Weather Express, you can find those direct links in the description of this video below. If you want to support me that way as well, I really do appreciate it. But we will dry out here in Central Florida, at least initially. Now, there's still more rain and fronts on the way after that. All right. So let's take a look at what the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook looks like. Now, a couple of things to note. You're seeing a huge 180 in the temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center in that 6 to 10 day time frame. The extreme bitter cold that they had in the Central Plains and really throughout the entire plains. Again, we talked about, Dallas had wind chill values below 10 degrees below zero for several mornings this week. They are actually going to warm up significantly, and that's going to actually lead to some flood issues in some of the higher elevations of the West because of the snow melt. Because they're rapidly heating up, there's a lot of flood concerns actually with some of the snow that they've seen. East of the Mississippi River, we're at either neutral chances for normal temperatures or slightly cooler than average. Again, you get into the blues and that gives you a higher chance or a greater chance to be slightly cooler. And the deeper blue that you go, the higher that percentage is. So for our area, we have a decent chance of seeing temperatures in the 6 to 10 day time frame being slightly below average. Now, obviously each day is different, but just to kind of give you guys an idea that, we talked about how the next 3 days are slightly cooler than average. Well, even the 6 to 10 day time frame is slightly cooler than average as well. So overall, the next 10 days, temperatures will stay slightly below average. There'll be some brief warm-ups, but then there'll be some decent cool downs to go along with it as well. Again, at this point in time, I don't have any, freezing temperatures in the forecast, but it's something I'll continue to monitor. Still could happen this time of the year. We have a equal chance of seeing normal precipitation. That's what the gray means. We're right in the middle. You get into the greens, that's wetter than normal over the next 6 to 10 days. You get into the browns, that's drier. So again, the West gets hotter and drier. The northern tier of the United States, eastern areas either have a normal chance or will be a little bit wetter than average as well. But that's kind of the flip of what we're going to see, which is why we will stay in a more active pattern for us overall as well. So again, if you're just tuning in, this afternoon is going to be brought to us by just a beautiful day. Again, skies are still relatively cloudy along portions of the East Coast, just depending on where you are. But if you live along the immediate East Coast, you can probably see that deck of clouds just offshore right now. Let me get this looping back up here. And you can see them just kind of approaching. A little kind of burst of cloud coverage actually moved in here very recently right over Volusia County, but you get the idea. And again, north winds, north and northeast winds are keeping things much cooler along our East Coast overall. Blue Goose is a little bit warmer than 48, but the METAR site in St. Augustine is still reporting 48 degrees. So for St. Augustine, Palm Coast, Daytona Beach, Titusville, Merritt Island, Melbourne, Palm Bay, Mico areas, don't be surprised if a little bit of cloud coverage sneaks into your area in the afternoon. Otherwise, we're looking pretty darn beautiful the remainder of the day. Blue Goose, I hope you guys do get some of that rain. Do any of you guys have any questions for me here for this live version of Central Florida Weather Live, the show? If you do, as they say, ask now or forever hold your peace, at least until Monday. Okay? And Garrett, I appreciate that too. Thank you guys. And I appreciate you guys being interactive with the show. This is what this is about, guys. Again, you have a specific question, feel free to ask it. I appreciate you guys watching regardless. Okay, you know what? We've done good today. Nice little 40-minute live stream. So again, let's just reiterate. Outside of the East Coast, the immediate East Coast, I expect this to be dry. But if you're living on the East Coast, especially tomorrow, you could see an isolated shower. We're going to get a brief burst of rain late Sunday, but especially overnight into Monday. So you're going to be waking up early on Monday with some clouds and some rain. When I see you Monday at 1 p.m., we might still have a few showers in our southeast areas, and we're going to be talking about the next front coming in with the opportunity to bring us more rain and some cooler weather as well. So friends, I'll wrap it up for at this point in time. Again, thank you guys so much for liking this live stream. Thank you for subscribing to Central Florida Weather Live. I really want to thank our sponsor of the CFLW channel. That is the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida. They're your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They offer free consultation and policy reviews. Anything that can impact you or your property across the entire state of Florida. They're going to walk you through the insurance claim process. You see their logo and their website on the bottom of your screen. It's leanonmelaw.com. If that situation arises in your life, you want to go there and check out what Bobby Lean and the team could offer you guys. Friends, I appreciate it. You guys have a great weekend. Have fun. Weather should cooperate for the most part. I'll see you Monday. We'll talk about the latest weather here in Central Florida. Until then, y'all take care, and I will see you then.